What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Romeo and Juliet. I'm your host, LA Knight. Hello, Patreon. Welcome back to the greatest, longest-running Patreon series of all time in the history of ever, I think. I've been listening to shit. Isn't that kind of cool? 30. I've been listening to shit 30. I've done 30 of these things, and we're still here. Isn't that cool? No, I'm actually kind of pleased, that I've had enough patrons to comfortably continue the series, and to the point where I even needed to kind of run it back and not review the albums as long, because I just had so many that I needed to kind of condense it so it's not a super long and taxing thing. But yeah, this is a long drawn out way of saying thank you for everyone who's been supporting the channel recently. It's been incredible. It's very nice to see people going out of the way to show that they support the content, that they like what I'm making, and they want to see more of it in a more in-depth way. It's so cool, and I really appreciate that a lot. I'm actually working on a video. I think a cool behind the scenes video would be if I kind of show you the setup right now, because I know for a lot of people the set that I'm at right now is kind of mysterious, because all you see is just the sheet behind me, but there's so much stuff around here. I'm actually going to be reorganizing stuff, so it may get even more crazy and wild, but for now it's just something I'm thinking of. But that's in the future. Right now I'm probably editing this on a plane to Florida right now, to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So hi, plane Jake, I hope you're having fun, and I hope I gave you something to do while you're on the plane. I don't know why I said that like that, but you guys know why we're here. I've been listening to 30. That means there's been 30 more, so you know how this works. You, watching this video, recommend me an album to listen to. I listen to it, and then I review it in this long-form video format, shotgun style, baby. You know the vibe, and I got some good ones here. We've had a lot of crazy releases lately, so we got a mixture of cool solo listening experiences I've had. We got some cool patron recommendations, and we have a pretty big one that the main album cover on the thumbnail that I'm sure a lot of people are curious about, because I sure was when when it released Utopia. I'm talking about Utopia. But besides that, if you guys know what's up, please recommend me an album for next episode 31, in the comments down below. And yeah, just recommend me an album, and then I guess we're just ready to rock and roll. So might as well just get started, I guess. Blur, the Ballad of Darren. Ooh, isn't this a spicy little joint? Blur. I've never listened to Blur before. Damon Albarn of Gorillaz, lead vocals. It really tricked me into thinking I was listening to Gorillaz a couple times here because of how similar his vocals sound. But yeah, this is officially the first Blur album I've listened to, and I'm gonna be honest, it did not excite me. I really was not rocking with this too much. I listened to Cracker Island, and it was okay. I kind of had similar thoughts to this from one of my patrons recommending me their older discography, Gorillaz, that is. I was kind of blown away with how forward-thinking their production style was. And this, for Blur, is kind of more just pop rock, kind of smooth, average kind of pop rock. Art pop occasionally, but all the songs here kind of sounded the same. Nothing really jumped out at me as oh, this is awesome. This is such a excellent banger. Some songs were a little better than others. A St. Charles Square was a good song. Faraway Island was another good one. I think that was the most Gorillaz sounding song on here. And the final track, The Heights, was pretty good too. But I'm gonna be honest, I really don't have much to say about this. Nothing really stood out to me as oh, I see why Blur is so crazy. Maybe it's Gorillaz syndrome. Maybe they were crazy, forward thinking, or had some great bops in their day, but now it's just kind of how can we appeal to the highest common denominator and just kind of make subpar pop music? I don't know, I'm sounding a little mean, but I didn't dislike it. It just wasn't very noteworthy to me. It was just kind of okay. So yeah, kind of starting off with kind of a wet fart of a review, but yeah, that's really all I gotta say. Blur, the Ballad of Darren, 5 out of 10. I just realized I was sitting the wrong way for the beginning of that, so that is why I am now switched positions. I guess that's just a little something to keep your eye on. Like, oh my God, Jake's he's doing something wacky. We should probably check out what we're doing. But that is why I am over here now. Do not be alarmed. The beginning will be moved. I'm sorry. That was so fucking stupid. But that pissed me off the entire time if I didn't do anything about it. Speaking of which, Kunzurii KZI Act 1 requested by patron themselves, Kunzurii. The artist recommended their album. Oh my God. Welcome, Kunzurii. Back to the show. Friend of the show, patron, Kunzurii. Longtime patron for a few months now, at least. I'm kind of losing track of time nowadays. But longtime patron Kunzurii recommended me one of their albums. And I listened to one of their EPs. I think it was after Into the Void or something about Void. I listened to it, and this is kind of the follow-up to this. This is the second album. And Kunzurii presented this as like a little ambient, like more like a mixtape, less than an album, you know, more like a collection of songs than like an entire project, if I'm remembering correctly. And first thing off the bat, album cover is, I love this album cover. That thing looks, that's a spicy looking album cover. I think that looks really, really nice. But when I was looking it up on Bandcamp, because this isn't on streaming from what I'm aware, I had to look on Bandcamp to listen to it. The whole project's theme is about like decaying mental health. And throughout this album, I really did not hear that. Like, the songs were more like uplifting almost. Like, it had like, I don't know, like I was expecting more like a depressing, downtrodden listen, but like some of the songs were like almost uplifting, and like I was thinking maybe it's like a bipolar kind of theme where it's like some highs and some lows, but like I'm not really seeing the lows here. It's just kind of like happy kind of music. Maybe I'm just out of touch, but personally I felt that like a little weird. Another thing to my ear was that these tracks, like, they didn't really sound in key all the time. Like, they were a harsh note here and there, but like it was kind of more often than not to, like, for my ear particularly, like I wrote down like it could have been intentional, like it was like the mimicking the decay of someone's mind, like, you know, they're trying to make music but it's intentionally out of key, like their mind is falling apart, like they can't even stay in key. If that's the case, it's a really cool idea, but personally I felt it kind of like frustrating almost. Like, the idea itself is cool if that was what you were going for, but the execution, I felt personally for me, it wasn't like, I wasn't super, it kind of broke my immersion listening to the album, you know? Another thing that I was kind of weird about was the, like, the stock kind of MIDI sounds. Like, a lot of these, like, specifically the pianos, like the grand pianos, they sounded very, like, what's the word, like GarageBand-esque. Like, it didn't really have any effects on it. I think if you were looking for a more, like, ambient experience, like, washing this out with like reverb or like giving it like a long decay or something like that, I think that really could have worked. But here it just kind of sounded like demo-y, unfinished. But that could be what could have been what you were going for. But as like an instrumental project, I think it's like kind of a stepping stone for you getting your feet more wet into like more music theory and getting more comfortable in general. Because I think the first project I listened to, Into the Void, I'm pretty sure it's called Into the Void. I'll link it, but forgetting an actual name off the top of my head. But I feel like this is kind of a good project to just like get your feet wet and kind of move forward, you know. I think you're getting way more comfortable in general with like presentation and marketing. I love this album cover. I don't know what it's from. I hope you made it, but I like it a lot, and this is the type of stuff that really makes you want to listen to music, and that's something we will refer to later onto this. But I think the music needs a bit of ironing out. I think you have some absolute real potential, and I think the best case for this project would be like game soundtrack, because, you know, not a whole lot of vocals, and there's kind of like differentiation. I cannot speak. Different vibes here for different like phases of a game. So that's my personal opinion. I love the album cover. I just think it could use some work. My favorite tracks were Scratch at the Door and Until You Drag Me Under. And the song titles here are absolutely like impending doom. It's kind of actually fucking crazy. Like, the song titles go absolutely hard. But Kunzurii, thank you. I hope you take my constructive criticism not as hate. But I do want to see you succeed, because I feel like you got a lot of potential here, and it just needs a little ironing out. I appreciate it, boss man. I really do. So Kunzurii, KZI Act 1, 3.5 out of 10. Muse, Black Holes and Revelations. God, what a fucking banger title that is. Requested by Misty. Thank you, Misty. So, first thing I wrote, vocalist sounds like Tom York's lower register. But I said it. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Immediately when Misty was kind of pitching this to me, it was kind of discussed as like a prog, like progressive rock. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of sick. So I feel a lot better when I say it kind of sounds like the Mars Volta, but a little more accessible Mars Volta. Not only does it sound like it, the album cover even looks like Francis the Mute. Like, it really does kind of look like Francis the Mute album cover, because it's people sitting, like, not actually, but it's like the blank face people. Well, of course, blank face on Francis the Mute doesn't have a fucking face to see. But anyway, I think this is an overall just improvement on the last Muse album I listened to. The grooves were better, and it was a lot more memorable than Showbiz. That was the album I was referring to. The prog elements really make this stand out for me, and the thing that I kind of understand with the Mars Volta stuff, sorry I keep referring to them, but their Mars Volta, I can understand like a less deep in the music trench you are not liking this. Like, if you're not deep in music, then you won't really like the Mars Volta, where this, I feel like, it's a good kind of entry level into the Mars Volta, you feel me? I even wrote Mars Volta here. Just, it all kind of reminds me of the Mars Volta, but be happy because I really like the Mars Volta, and I did really like this. I really enjoyed the first stretch of 4 tracks were like kind of bangers. Like Take a Bow, Starlight, Massive Black Hole was probably my favorite song. Map of the Problematic, I believe. I like the song Assassins, Exopolitics, and Hoodoo were probably some of my favorite songs. I think if I sit with this a little bit more, then I'll just kind of enjoy it more. Like, it's one of those things that's going to take me a little bit to love because I just listened to it on a car ride, and I feel like if I'm in the vibe, like Massive Black Hole has been on my like workout playlist like pretty consistently, and you know, for very good reason. It's absolute fucking banger. But I mean, yeah, Misty, you hit me with some heat. I have to say, this is a pretty good release. Thank God you didn't pick some like thrash bullshit like hardcore stuff. I may not be a big Muse head, but this is definitely, it might convince me, I have to say. Big fan of this record for sure. Fan of this record. Muse, Black Holes and Revelations, 7.5 out of 10. J. Paul Leak 0413 Bait Ones. Not a fan of the title. Requested by Boat. Thank you, Boat. It's kind of funny. I just got done finished recording the Good Enough podcast, and I talked to Luke a little bit about J. Paul and my thoughts on this album. So if you want, well, Bo, you're a patron there too, so I guess you'll see when I talk about it. But this is a more detailed look. I was telling him about how I really enjoyed the story behind. Not enjoyed it. I think it's terrible what happened, but the story was definitely very intriguing to me. The whole like getting leaked and putting it out before the leakers had a chance to profit off of it, like unfinished tracks. Like, that sucked dick if that happened to any other artist. But it was definitely an interesting story to me, and I didn't know J. Paul for anything else besides the story. Like, I didn't know what his music sounded like. So now I do know what his music sounded like. And I get the hype. It's I do understand the hype. Like, it's really wild. Like, I like his voice. I didn't expect him to sing on this. For some reason, I thought this was instrumental, but J. Paul has a kind of a beautiful voice, if I'm being honest. Like, it's mixed a bit low for me, but I mean, that could just be the demo nature of it. But like, from what I hear, I do really like it, and I can get down with some low mixed vocals. Like, you know, I kind of fuck with it like that. But I think he has such a good voice that it should be higher, like, in the mix. I think it should be more present. But like I said, I never really got the hype around J. Paul until I listened to this album, because I'm like, this album is so fun, it's so colorful. Like, it's the biggest hindrance is kind of the big marketing ploy is that it's unfinished. It's kind of short, and like some of these songs were going, and I'm like, damn, I just want them to keep going. Like, these are awesome songs, and then they just end. Or some you could really tell are demos. Like, I think it was Garden of Paradise. It's so blown out and distorted. Like, the bass is just so loud. I'm like, damn, this is gonna blow a fucking hole in my car speaker. Like, I had to like turn the volume down. I was like, damn, I'm gonna lose my car from this. But for what is presented here, besides it being unfinished and like me just wanting more out of songs that are unfinished, this is really good. Like, I hope J. Paul doesn't stop making music, because I really like his sound. If he makes more music of this sound, then, you know, I think this is gonna be a banger. Like, Fair Tracks were one of the brethrens. Straight Outta Mumbai is probably my favorite track. Zion, Wolf Theme, Genevieve, Crush, Jasmine, 100,000, Desert River, and BTSTU. Like, there's some heat on this, man. So, Boat, I'm glad I finally got the chance to listen to this, and maybe you're surprised, maybe I'm surprised, maybe you're not surprised, but this is definitely some heat. I get the hype around J. Paul now, and I'm definitely excited to see what or if he does anything in the future, because he's definitely an interesting voice, literally and figuratively, in the electropop scene. It's definitely a banger. J. Paul, Leak 04 13 Bait Ones, 7.5 out of 10. George Clanton, Ooh Rap I Yah. Yeah, that's the title. I can't say it any other way than singing it, because Ooh Rap I Yah is just, God, what a terrible fucking name. Not a Patreon request, just something that, I guess this is kind of like Luke's unofficial second request, because he mentioned on the Good Enough podcast, the last one we filmed, not the most recent one, the last one we filmed, I'm like, yeah, I mean, I've been meaning to. I really like Slide, so I'll give it a listen, and I did. And my thoughts are as follows. I think he's really honed this, like, vapor rock kind of sound that he's going for. Upon more talking about it with Luke, I kind of ironed out more of my feelings. And I do think Slide has, like, better tracks, like, better highs. But this has some pretty high highs and some excellent, like, album flow. I think this is a better album than Slide, but Slide has higher highs, in my personal opinion. Some songs sound a bit too similar to each other for my taste. Like, songs I wasn't huge about, like Justify Your Life, like Vapor King and Subreal, or like Ooh Rap I Yah. It's Ooh Rap I Yah, the title track's okay, just not like a huge fan. But the other tracks, like, they really bang. Everything I Want's a really good song, you know. For You I Will, the last track. I've Been Young, I don't even know if I mentioned that. I've Been Young is like, for one of the singles, it was huge. Punching Down I really like. I really like the beginning, like the weird nonsense vocals that he's spitting. And my favorite track is Fuck Up My Life, actually. I really like that song. And a close second is You Hold the Key and I Found It. But Fuck Up My Life is a really banging song. I've been listening to that a lot. Yeah, I mean, I really don't have too much to criticize it for. Like, besides some songs not sounding the same, or like just a tracker here not really vibing with me, I do really like this. I mean, I'm kind of strapped for cash right now, but I definitely consider picking up the vinyl, because I do like the album cover. I know some people are shitting on it, but I like the kind of clay textures of the title. Like, it's cute, it's quirky. If you were like, if I like kind of squinted really quick, I'd know what the album cover is. Like, if I blurred it, like, you still kind of get just the album cover. That's how you know he made a good album cover. If it's blurred and you can still figure out what it is, that's how you did a pretty good job. But I mean, yeah, I really don't got too much negative to say about George Clanton, Ooh Rap I Yah. And with that said, George Clanton, Ooh Rap I Yah. Sounds so weird. 7.5 out of 10. That's the third 7.5 out of 10 in a row. Fun fact for anyone keeping score at home. Koyo Drives Out East. Kind of banging title and kind of a cool album cover. Quest by Quentin, the resident metalhead of the Good Enough podcast, of the Bucket of Jake Patreon. Literally anything that Quentin was going to recommend was going to be an improvement over last episodes. Genuinely, probably one of my least favorite albums I've heard. I think it was Sawtooth Grin, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, not a huge fucking fan of that. So literally anything was going to be an improvement over Sawtooth Grin. And we have Koyo's, I think that's how you say it, Drives Out East, really cool name. Like I mentioned last episode, emo is a difficult genre for me to really like fuck with, like, it's felt very like emo by the numbers to me. I'm a big fan of emo when it's kind of has like this other element to it, like emo, like pop, emo, like electronic, emo, whatever the fuck. This felt very emo by the numbers, and nothing really stood out to me as like, ooh, they're doing something different, Very just kind of, yeah, nothing really maybe raised my eyebrows, That's kind of what I'm getting at here. Like, if you've heard, like, if you're an emo head and you just kind of know how emo sounds, you kind of like that bass sound, then you'll really fuck with this heavy. They have a new record on the way, and I'd say get on the hype train now. The album cover is pretty cool, I have to say, for the new record. I'd be very interested to check it out. I wouldn't say I'm expecting good things, but I'd be very interested to check it out. I wasn't too crazy about all the songs. The only song I really that I enjoyed was The World We Claim. That was probably a nice end, like, way to send it off. But yeah, honestly, Quentin, you set the bar fucking, like, where's the end of the screen? You set the bar like down here, and you know, anywhere up is going to be better. So thank you for the request. And even if you think I'm not going to like a track, this goes for anyone. If you think I'm not going to like an album, like, give it to me anyway. Like, who knows? Like, if I listen to it, maybe I'll really like it. Like, Ultra Pop's The Arms. Like, The Arms Ultra Pop was a good example of that. I thought I was going to hate that album because everything on paper sounds shitty, but then I listened to it and it's like top 20 favorite albums of all time. Like, I really fucking like that album. But thank you, Quentin. That's a long way of saying thank you for requesting me albums that you might not think I'll like, but I want to give it a try anyway, so I appreciate it. Koyo, Drives Out East, 4 out of 10. Lai Trang, Syenite. Jake, what is this you're asking? And you know what? That is a good fucking question. So, here's a fun little story. Kids, gather around the campfire as we sing our campfire song. I got an email from... Gmail and their strain orders, actually. I got an email from Lai Trang, and the email said something about, to the extent of, hey, I know you like this music, I like your channel, check out my album. And I purposely did not respond to that email because I am doing it now. So, hello, I hope I say your name right, Lai Trang. This is why I took so long to respond. So I'm not going easy on you. So Lai Trang is, I believe, a Vietnamese. I think they said they're a Vietnamese ambient producer, and this is like an electronic album. So already piqued my interest. The album cover is really cool. I like the album cover like quite a bit. I think it's sick. It has kind of like that caretakery, like what is this image type thing. I think it's really cool without like blatantly ripping off the caretaker style like of like a thing. I like this like organic, like this sea life. Album cover is really cool, and that's kind of like half the battle for me. But the first artist that came in my mind was like a more ambient kind of Pan Daijing. Shout out to the old frogs who've been watching, but it's a very like industrial drone record. Some of my favorite parts on this record are the percussion and the vocal elements. Like, these songs here really like stood out in my mind. I know Lai Trang is not a patron, like a frequent Patreon supporter, so me personally, ambient, like no vocal stuff is kind of hard for me to get into because it has to have like this vibe of, you know, like it needs to really do something crazy to catch my attention. And I think that happens a few times on here, but personally I like the vocals and the percussion. So if it were up to me, I'd say more of that. But I mean, I kind of was alluding to it, like without any crazy things like vocals or drums or like anything that really jumps out at me is like, oh my god, that's crazy. Like, I don't really fall head over heels with albums like this, unfortunately. I think there's some amazing stuff in here, and I really, really like it. I think there's some hard-hitting percussion and really good vocal performances, actually, and the presence actually really cool. It's just if there were more vocals and percussion on it, I think it would go from being an amazing record. Well, it would go from a great record to an amazing record. That is what I'm getting at. My favorite songs were So Flag on Flag. I don't speak Vietnamese, so track 4, Sand Cogni, and my final track, Featherbrain. Featherbrain's probably my favorite track. I really like how that progressed. It sounds great. I wrote down, you need to score a film. Not you should score a film. You need to score a film. This would sound, you'd be incredible. Yeah. You're very talented artists with a very solid experimental ambient record. So if you guys found the album cover interesting and me explaining it interesting, then the link will be down below. And Lai Trang, I hope I'm saying your name right, A. And B, I hope you got what you wanted. Yeah, made a good record. Oh, okay, cool, bud, cool. Talk to me when you make fucking Get to Heaven and everything. Lai Trang, Syenite, 6.5 out of 10. LCD Sound System, The Sound of Silver, Jackson Burns, piece of shit. LCD Sound System, my first ever full LCD Sound System album. I've listened to some tracks here and there. Remember off the top of my head, Daft Punk Is Playing at My House, probably one of my favorite LCD Sound System songs, along with New Body Ramba, the new one. And Jackson actually made me listen to the final track, or the second, I think it was the final track off here. New York, I Love You, But You're Bringing Me Down. So I have some experience with LCD Sound System, but this is the first full listen I've had. And from the earlier LCD Sound System, the first thing I put is this is a lot more funky than previous LCD Sound System tracks I've enjoyed. Whereas it has a much more motivational and happy listen. Whereas the kind of older stuff on the debut was more like dance punky. Like it had kind of a punk edge to it, where this had kind of like a funk edge to it, you know? I do really think that LCD Sound System's length of tracks is an issue for me. I don't care if you think I'm nerdy, but like I think cutting the song lengths in half or even in thirds would make this like an incredibly bite-sized, condensed, great listen. But the fact that it's so like some tracks are pushing the 6-9 minute mark, like, hey, call me like a goofy peanut with like a shitty attention span, but like I think it's too long. I find myself saying, and stop. All right. Stop. Should have stopped there. Would have been great. It just like a 3 or 4 minute track, maybe 5. But like the repetitiveness was cool. I wish some parts like expanded a little bit more, but like it's not bad. I just I was expecting a little bit more. It sounds like I'm being negative on this. I'm really not. Time to Get Away was a fantastic song. North American Scum, really good song. All My Friends, how do you not like All My Friends, bro? Us Versus Them was a really good song, and in the context of the album, listening to it, I have really come around to New York, I Love You, But You're Bringing Me Down. That is a pretty good track. It's still very good, besides like a song or here not really vibing and like the lengths just being a little goofy. There's bangers on bangers on this record, and shocker, but LCD Sound System makes bangers, guys. The news of the world, am I right, guys? So thank you, Jackson, for recommending me, and this makes me intrigued to listen to the debut, the Disco Ball album. So if nothing else, Jackson, you've definitely got me intrigued on LCD Sound System. I usually associate Luke with LCD Sound System, but I guess you're taking over the moniker. Speaking of which, LCD Sound System, The Sound of Silver. 6.5 out of 10. CHELL on Earth. Godchild. Holy fucking shit. Requested by Kunzurii. Wait a second, Jake. How come Kunzurii got 2? Well, Kunzurii got 2 because I forgot to review Kunzurii's on last episode. So Kunzurii got 2. No one else. Unless I forget yours, then you get 2. Because this was Kunzurii's last recommendation. So I had to sneak it in here. And what fucking fantastic timing. Because not only did Kunzurii recommend CHELL on Earth, but we have a member of CHELL on Earth in the chat. Like, they're in the Patreon. That's fucking sick. Like, they brought it up to me like, hey, I'm in a band like CHELL on Earth. I'm like, no fucking shot. Kunzurii is like one of your ride or dies. And I'm like, that's actually kind of sick. So yeah, so shout out a bunch of patron music. I really like that. If you guys know people who make music or make music yourself, please recommend me your or friends' albums. I want to hear like the super underground. I want to hear what new people are pushing out now. It's kind of sick. But anyway, this is my second helping of CHELL on Earth's grumbled, metal rock, and I think this is an improvement on the last project I checked out. I think the sound is more consistent. And even the playing and vocal performances are better to my ear, honestly. I walked away with an honest-to-God favorite song. I really was not expecting that. I walked away. Drowsy is a banger. Like, I think it's just weirdly more cohesive, like, on that song and the entire album. Like, even on the weirder cuts, it felt more cohesive, because, like, that was a big thing I had about the last project. Like, I felt they were still trying to look for their sound, kind of throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. Whereas here, I feel like they found something that stuck, and they were like, all right, let's keep throwing that kind of shit at the wall. You feel me? And I think that really lent to a more cohesive listening experience. For example, if one of the weirder tracks, like Irene Goodnight, was a really good track, actually. So, Misty and Quentin, I'm talking to you guys. I have a feeling y'all would really fuck with this. So, check out CHELL on Earth. It'll be linked in the description. The smaller ones I'll link in the description. But yeah, shout out to the band member who joined the Patreon. Like, that's fucking sick, actually. Maybe consider making better music for me to give you a higher score. I'm just kidding. You guys made it. It was a pretty good outing, I have to say. You guys made some pretty good stuff. Favorite song was Drowsy, like I said, and Goodnight Irene. I really did not like Dollhouse. That's the problem I had with that. But yeah, I hate the album cover. It's horrible. But I'm pretty sure that's what you were going for, because it's literal maggots and something that looks like a pizza vagina, I guess. Not a huge fan of this one, but the music weirdly kind of surprised with how much I enjoyed it. So shout out to CHELL on Earth. You guys are sick. Like I said, CHELL on Earth, Godchild, 6.5 out of 10. Sweet Trip, Velocity, Design, Comfort. Request by Adam Sears. A new name. This is what I like to hear. Shout out to the new names on here. We're going to have another name in a little bit. Shout out to the new name, Adam Sears. I appreciate the recommendation, boss. And it's fucking Sweet Trip. I have been getting recommended this album for fucking ages. And it's finally time to listen to it. I remember back in the day, I put a call on Instagram. I was like, give me just a song that you really like. And the song that someone sent me was Chocolate Matter. And I was listening, I'm like, I remember this album cover, and I'm like, why do I remember this album cover? And then Chocolate Matter came on, I was like, that's why I remember, because someone recommended me this song, like, over a year and a half ago, maybe? But, yeah, so it was really cool to listen. I can get down with this, like, glitchy, kind of indie rock sound, but, like, for whatever reason, it wasn't super speaking to me, you know? Like, I found a lot of the textures cool, while some I felt like overstayed their welcome and I wasn't like a huge fan of at the beginning, and it just kind of, you know, if I'm not really fucking with the sound at the beginning, then, you know, then kind of track's ruined. Also, I like some textures and sounds. I didn't like some textures and sounds, and it was kind of bouncing all over, and even some of them were in the same track, whereas like it had so many different phases that it lead me to be like, oh, I really like this element of the song, but I also don't like this. So like I'll like one element, then I won't like another element. So it just kind of leads to this like this end point of like it was good in some parts but not so good in other parts, and it kind of just clashes to being kind of run of the mill for me. My favorite tracks were Disco, Fruit Cake and Cookies. My favorite track was Sept. I liked International and Design 2-3. I hope that's how I say those words. There were definitely some really cool standouts here, but I wouldn't say I was head over heels for this. It's just some pretty background music for me, honestly. It made me walk away really intrigued to listen to more Sweet Trip, because I looked this up and this is like, it was like number 1 on Rate Your Music for the year it came out. I'm like, fuck out of here with that, man. That's crazy. I wouldn't say it's number 1 out of the year. I think I could probably find some cooler stuff came out at the time, but I definitely enjoyed it, just not to the extent that I was kind of hoping for. I was hoping that this would be like a really cool transcendent experience for me, but it turned out to be just like, you know, not too shabby. That's my official thought. So thank you, Adam Sears, for the request, and thank you for your patronage, man. I appreciate it. That's sick, dude. I'm losing my voice. I don't have any like water next to me. My throat kind of hurts. Like right here hurts when I talk. Got a frog in my throat or some shit. I'll figure it out. I'm a big boy. Where was I? Oh yeah. Sweet Trip, Velocity, Design, Comfort, 6 out of 10. FKA Twigs, CAPRISONGS. Request by Triasavitza. Welcome, Triasavitza. Another resident music person of the pod, musician of the pod. That was stupid. And we have FKA Twigs, CAPRISONG here. And this is a fun collection of alt bops. I listened to this with my girlfriend in the car when we were driving together. So I had a female's perspective on the album from myself. And we both walked away enjoying it, which is not something that usually happens with me and my girlfriend. It's kind of pulling teeth, finding songs we both enjoy or albums we both enjoy, God forbid. I like FKA Twigs kind of embracing this popular side of her sound, where I was thinking back to Magdalene, and I really liked Magdalene, but I think the songs that kind of floundered on that were the more popular cuts, like the one with Future, or like the more, you know, just the more in-your-face poppy stuff, whereas like what's that? Home With You is like those kind of super emotional, like experimental slow tracks. Like I think those were where she shined. So when I saw that this was kind of like a mostly pop experience, I was like, ooh, this could be kind of hit or miss for me. But I'm gonna say I think she accomplished that here. I think she made pop music better. I think since FK kind of went more left field with it, I think I like that a lot more. Or I keep referring to one track of Future, the Future song, which is very just like, I mean, nothing really crazy or noteworthy. Where here, I think there were some noteworthy and crazy things that were happening. Some songs didn't sound a bit disheveled, going for a more left field approach, but like, I like it. Like, I could really enjoy a vibe and a sound while also not enjoying the rest of the track. But I mean, for the most part, like, it start a cool way and then just kind of end in like disintegrating to mush. Like Ride the Dragon is probably a good example of that, where I was digging some parts of it, but then it just kind of like, it was doing too many things, and it just kind of bleh, it just like bleh, kind of farted itself out of existence. But I mean, for the most part, there were some really cool songs here, like Honda, Meta Angel, Oh My Love, CAPRISONGS Interlude, Poppy Bones, Which Way, my favorite track with Daniel Caesar, Careless, Minds of Men, Track Girl Interlude, and Thank You Song. I think there was some really good heat here. Some tracks maybe not as crazy as I would like, or as experimental or as wacky and wild as I would like, but for a nice like UK alt drum and bass pop album, trap drill thing, it's pretty good. So I'm actually kind of opening my eyes to FKA Twigs, because I think this is the only second FKA Twigs album I've listened to, like front to back, Magdalene and CAPRISONGS. So yeah, thank you, Tresovitz. I would never have listened to this, and I would not have walked away with some really good songs in my playlist. So shout out FKA Twigs, CAPRISONGS, 7 out of 10. Alex G, House of Sugar. Yeah, see, I'm moving away from the mic to make it sound wacky. What's up, Luke? Welcome to the show. I talked about it a little bit with you off mic, so I don't even know why I need to do this anymore. No, I'm kidding. I talked a little bit about it, but my first Alex G project. I'm sure other people are curious about this too. And I have to say, I enjoyed it for the most part. It's pretty good. I've heard some earlier tracks off of, was it Ran, I think? The one with the dog, whatever the dog one is, and, oh, fuck, what's the one song? It's like, he whispers quietly, like, oh my god, I forget what it's called. This is gonna kill me, I'm sorry. Blessing, that's what I was looking for. Blessing I've listened to. Alright, that was gonna kill me if I didn't get that. But I've listened to Blessing and like earlier tracks like that. And I heard some people say that this is one of his more accessible records, and I agree with that. I think while he was trying to be more accessible here, there were also some experiments that were like kind of like the track specifically with like the country twist and the electronic orchestral bass. Like it just wasn't really working. I think Bad Men was what I was kind of weird on. That was the country twist song. Not a big fan of that, I will say. But I mean, for the most part, this is just kind of like a really solid like I think it's like neo rock, like psych rock, kind of like a slowcore maybe. It's like a very soft rock experience I really enjoyed. Not a huge fan of the album cover. It's okay, but like, you know, there were some songs that were really great on here. Walk Away, the intro track, was probably my favorite song on here. I did really enjoy Gretel. Project 2 I liked. In My Arms, and Sugar House Live. Had some pretty nice bangers on here, but like there were some tracks that kind of fell into those pop rock like kind of cliches, and not pop rock, like the kind of like cliches. I wasn't a huge fan on them, but I could definitely see the hype for Alex G. Not a head over heels for this. Maybe if I listen to one of the like older tracks, like more lo-fi kind of albums or something like that, I'd see kind of more of the hype or be a little more intrigued by it. But from where I stand now, I definitely understand the hype behind it, and I walked away with a few pretty banging songs, like, you know, pun intended, Walk Away and Gretel, like I said. So yeah, Luke, I liked Alex G. Now shut it and leave. I'm not a fan of you. Alex G, House of Sugar, 7 out of 10. Pat's Soundhouse by Pat's Soundhouse. Of course, by new patron Ian. Hi, Ian. Thank you for supporting the Patreon. So, Ian described this to me as like a pop, rocky, folk, funk, like album with comedic elements to it. But I don't see that like anywhere. I don't see any comedic elements here. Like, said something about like the homies kissing or something. Like, there's a track on here called Homies, but like I didn't get the comedy at all. Unless I totally fucking missed something. I just didn't really get the comedy. It's just a solid project. I'm kind of like blown away by this, actually. Like, some of the more underground stuff is kind of, you know, less production value, more like what's the word? Possibilities to mess up. But this is actually produced really well. Like, it had some really intriguing elements. It was constructed very well. My biggest range sonically here is like the wide range of influences, or like the range of genres. Like, it felt more directionless than like experimental to me. Like, there was a lot of different sounds. These are just some of the genres I picked up on. There's funk, rock, orchestral, ambient, drone, jazz, etc. There's like a little bit of everything here. I feel like if Pat Soundhouse kind of honed in on one sound, or like try to incorporate the other genres a bit more around one sound instead of just having a bunch of different ones and not really having a centralized genre, then I'd probably enjoy that more. But I mean, honestly, like, that's really the only sound thing that I really have, like, besides a track like here or there not really landing, or like a drone track just kind of not really going anywhere. No, this was actually there were some really good songs here. It just wasn't a cohesive album, you feel me? And the one big thing that I have that I'm gonna be straight up, another one of my big issues, not music wise, but the album cover. I'm be honest, I'm not a big fan of the album cover. I'm a proponent of the album cover should make you feel intrigued and want to listen to music. And I'll be honest, this album cover does not make me feel intrigued and want to listen to music. I'm like, okay, this, it's some shitty singer-songwriter thing, but actually it's this really cool, like, avant-garde, funky, like, punky, rocky kind of, it's just, it sounds so colorful, but the album cover's in black and white. That's me personally. I'm just an album cover guy, but as I'm listening to this, like, man, this should have some like crazy album cover because this sounds so wild and so like intriguing, and it like makes my mind go like, wow, I'm seeing all these colors. It's just black and white and kind of boring. You know, I'm gonna call spade a spade, but like, other than that, dog, I'm gonna be honest, Ian, tell your boy, this was an intriguing listen, and I was pleasantly surprised. So thank you for the request, and shout out Pat Soundhouse. If you want to check this out, like, it has some really interesting songs on here, like Funky Chambers, Asking the Gods of Rain for a Sunny Day, hardest song title of the year, what? Interlude 4, CM4, and Amidst the Sea of Nuclear Waste, another really good song title. But yeah, I mean, this is just kind of a really good track, really good album. Sorry, I'm drunk. Yeah, definitely check this out. Check out smaller artists, because this is actually like kind of really good. And there's more. This is there's 3. There's the first one, then 2, and then 3. Not a fan of those album covers either. The third one is probably my favorite. Second one is literally just like a shit post. But I mean, yeah, that's my thoughts. Ian, tell your boy this is pretty good. Or if this is you, maybe this is you. I don't know. Either way, whoever made this music, good. Thumb up. Enjoyed it. Pat Soundhouse, 6.5 out of 10. Finally, you've waited through all this baloney. Jake, get to it. Travis Scott, Utopia. Oh my god, you could finally feel your release. Yes, Travis Scott's Utopia. And I've been purposely trying not to give my thoughts on it on the video on the main channel I talked about, the auto-tune video, which I'm going to rant really quick. What the fuck is it with Travis Scott subject? Like, I hope this isn't just because Travis Scott is in the title, but the brain dead responses I'm getting is insane. Fucking like, oh, didn't watch, but my answer to this question is no, you're stupid. I disagree with your take. You don't even know what the fuck my take was. It was, oh my god, I'm just losing my marbles. I'm sorry, but Travis Scott's Utopia's here, and I'm not gonna look at my notes because I didn't put any, because I've been listening to this and I just know it off rip. I talked about it a little bit on the Good Enough podcast, but putting aside who the person Travis Scott is, bringing out Kanye West, the whole Astro World travesty, like, I'm gonna putting it all aside and just reacting to the music as the music, the separating art from the artist. So, with that said, I really fucking like this album. I said it, I did. I really fucking like this album. I think there's too much filler to call it perfect. Like, I know some people have found this crazy, but Hyena, I'm not a huge fan of Hyena. I think that's just kind of like one note, in my opinion. Like, it should have been more, or like it sounds like Luke put it pretty well. It was like we've been there, done that. Like, I want to hear something new. I'm not a huge fan of Fiend. I think it's okay. It's more silly. It's like the vamp anthem for this album. Like, Fiend. It's Travis Scott saying that. It's something I didn't know. Utopia Twins, I just straight up don't like that song. Fucking Rob49, shout out. Circus Maximus, I was kind of just more disappointed by it. I was like, damn, like, this is literally just Black Skinhead. Lost Forever was okay. K-pop is just like, why is this even here? And Telekinesis, kind of shocker, but I'm not huge on it. It's definitely higher. It's higher in the mids, but not super high. Same thing with Till Further Notice. I'm a James Blake head, but like, I think this is kind of a shitty outro. And those were just the songs that were okay. I mean, yeah, okay. The songs that I did not like at all, like, probably the lower ones are like Topia Twins and K-pop. Those are the only songs I'd say I just straight up don't like. Everything else here is fucking awesome, dude. Like, thank God, amazing track. Modern Jam. Star-making performance by Tizo Touchdown. Star-making performance. I am so excited for new Tizo Touchdown because, I know you lie. Outside waiting in the line. God, fucking what an amazing feature. My Eyes, I talked about in the video. It's fucking top 5 Travis in my opinion. I think it's fantastic. I'm a sucker for Bon Iver and Sampha, let alone on the same track, and those like distorted chords like sound so good. God's Country I really like. I've come around on it. I thought that was just okay. Sirens, oh my god, Sirens, what a fucking banging. This is such a gym album. Like listening to this at the gym just gets you fucking ripped. Meltdown, I originally thought this was the worst track on the album. This is my first thought, but then I kind of came around to it. I'm like, all right, I've kind of sat. I'm like, all right, this is his experimental stuff. This is his more mainstream stuff. And Meltdown kind of got caught in the crossfires. But now that I listen to it, it's pretty good. Drake did a pretty good job, and I do like the beat a lot here. It kind of went for a sicko mode too with the beat switches, but with that said, it was still pretty good. Del Resto, everyone's like, oh, it sounds like a Beyonce song. I don't give a fuck. It sounds good, dude. Like, again, Bon Iver on this, uncredited. I love Bon Iver. It's a banging track. I love the funky, like, electronic elements to it. Like, it sounds really good. I know I enjoy, well, the song I Know, that sounded like a weird sentence. I Know is a song that I also enjoy. More for, like, the poppier stuff. I like the experimental perks, like the, that was stupid. I don't know why I did that. But, like, the distorted background elements, it sounded cool. Parasail, people are shitting on Parasail. Hey, say what you will about Dave Chappelle, say what you will about Young Lean. I think it's a cool song. I love the instrumental in the background, and Young Lean does a pretty good job. I think it sounds good. Schizo is, I don't know if I mentioned Schizo. Schizo is okay. It's fine. I like the hook to it. Definitely just breaking that I like it. Way too long though. Way too fucking long. Love. God, what a banger. It's a fucking banger. God, that song is so fucking good. I don't even give a shit Kid Cudi's a non-factor in it. God, that song's so fucking good. And, I mean, that's really my thoughts. I think it's too much filler to call it perfect, but the highs here are astronomical. And after kind of the Kanye West shape hole that's kind of been penetrating the pop culture, which kind of sucks that he brought Kanye out to like kind of just not only for the reprehensible things Kanye West has done, but just reminding people, like even saying it so blatantly, there would be no Travis Scott without Kanye West, and it's fine to be influenced by him, but like to the point where like Circus Maximus is literally just Black Skinhead. Like it's a little, try and separate yourself more from Kanye as like artistically. But yeah, honestly, I think I'm more kind of like why I respect Yeezus so much, because it's an artist at the level of Travis Scott. He had a fucking McDonald's meal after him. Like moms know who Travis Scott is. Someone like him making this experimental music, going out of the bubble that people found themselves in. And if you alienate some people, hey, like, okay, like that's why there's like K-pop and I Know and Utopia Twins on this album, so people like modern Joes can listen to this and be like, yeah, I like some songs. But the wider music listening audience, like people who go deeper, say, wow, there's some excellent experimental tracks on here. And then you can kind of meet in the middle, where someone who wants to go over that threshold and say like, yeah, I wasn't really a huge fan of these songs, but I actually really enjoyed Modern Jam. I liked Del Resto. I like Sirens. Like I find that more commendable to me. Like I feel like in the future there's gonna be a lot of, like in the next 10 to 15 years, there's gonna be people that are like, yeah, I was inspired by Utopia because I wanted to make like an experimental twist on the whatever, because Travis got so large. My point is, Travis got so big that him doing this experimental type music and giving a little bit of everything to people, while maybe not making people fall in love with it, it's definitely commendable to see someone so big go for something so new and so fresh, in my opinion. But yeah, that's really all I gotta say. I think I've hit everything. Modern Jam, Tizo Touchdown, fucking feature of the year. Jackson's right, it's fucking fire. Also, not a huge fan of the album cover. It's okay, but yeah, I think I've said all I need to say about that. Travis Scott, Utopia, 8 out of 10. And just like that, we are done. As I move my phone away from the mic, hopefully there was not any buzzing. Thank you for listening or watching, whatever you do. To I've been listening to shit 30. I appreciate it. 30 of these things. It does really mean a lot to me that you guys have been here and listening to me talk and give thoughts on albums that you guys enjoy, because I enjoy doing this. It's kind of lengthy, but it's definitely nice to listen to new music and get this, like, expand my palette more, because, like, I'd never listen to half of these albums if it wasn't for my patrons, and I discover new musicians from it. Like, it's really cool, and I really find that really neat. It's cool that patrons do that, so thank you, patrons. I can't stress this enough, how much you guys are actually helping. Like, I talked about it on the Good Enough podcast, which will be public soon, but, like, I talked about how Patreon is such, like, a cool thing, because it's literally people coming to you directly, like, I enjoy your content, here's financial support because I want you to do this full time. And that's kind of the new goal of the Patreon. I want to be able to make Patreon content full time. Like, I want to make this YouTube channel my full-time job. That's my new plan. So you're at the ground floor right now, and I really appreciate that. Like, genuinely, I feel like I'm just, like, kind of shitting, like, emotion out, just, like, spitting it out right now, but, like, for real, like, you guys are what makes this possible, and you guys are what make the channel. Because, I mean, if you guys aren't here watching and supporting, then fucking I'll be back to 0 viewers, like 0 watchers. But yeah, a little content update, then I'll get you on your way. Next video is going to be another genre infiltration video. I'm not going to tell you the genre of it, like what genre I'm infiltrating. That's for you to find out. Here, ready? Watch this. Sorry, look at the mic, and I'm just gonna move to the center there. Yeah, there we go. I'm moving everywhere in this episode. Yeah, new episode of Genre Infiltration is being worked on. I'm getting assets from the guest people who are involved. I'm finishing up editing. I need, like, B-roll and shots like that. And don't get your hopes up, because this isn't going to be an actual thing. But I have what was going to be a mock-up cassette of how I wanted it to look. But I have later decided I'm not going to do a physical release of this. So here's just a cool little Easter egg for you guys. Here, this is the cassette for the release I'm gonna do. I think it looks pretty cool. I'm maybe, from looking at the release, you can kind of guess the type of music. I mean, it is a cassette tape, so. Here, I hope it's not even in the light, but nah, geez, yeah. I'm really excited for this video. The last genre infiltration video I did on noise music was, like, I was so proud of that video. Like, I finished editing, I was like, damn, and I just watched a whole bunch of times. I was like, these type of videos are a lot of fun, and unfortunately, there's not going to be an official, like, release of it. In focus. Maybe, there you go. There's not gonna be an official release, like a cassette release, so this is one of one. And there's not even music on this, by the way. This is literally just some fucking cassette that just has, I put the sticker is over the original label. Like, it's just, I think, country music or some shit on it. But yeah, it's my long-winded way of saying the next video is gonna be really cool. So this is gonna be the focus of the next video, even though nothing's on this. But yeah, also I mentioned I want to do a Patreon behind the scenes video of me, like, kind of showing my setup and, like, my studio, quote unquote, because it's barely a fucking studio. But yeah, just, there's a lot of things coming in the channel that I'm extremely positive for, and I'm really excited about. So I hope you guys are too. And yeah, Ed and Jake is probably pulling his hair out. He just wants to get done, so I will finish that up. All right, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. And yeah, goodbye, Patreon. See you next episode.